Okay, we're recording now. Ready for business. Excuse me. Councillor Pearson, you ready to roll?
Yeah, fine. Apologies for absent, item 1.
Yes, I've had 3 apologies for absence so far. Councillor Dodds has a work commitment this evening. Councillor Willis currently has some childcare commitment. She may be able to join us later, but if she doesn't, that's why. And Councillor Green has a work commitment as well this evening. I've received no other apologies. So any other absences will be recorded as unapproved. What are members' wishes for the 3 that we've had so far?
Aye.
We accept them, yeah.
Agreed. Thank you.
Agreed.
Have we heard from Councillor Geddes, Chair? Oh, sorry.
That might be him.
That
Yes.
must be him.
2 seconds.
I haven't.
Are you happy?
Madam Mayor, if you can interject, we have had problems getting on tonight for various reasons. Maybe it's obviously with the lockdown, everybody's using broadband, so maybe Councillor Geddes might be experiencing problems.
Yeah, he usually does so.
Right, I just want to proceed, Councillor Pearson.
Yes, item
If any
2.
other members join us, they join us.
And yeah.
Right, so the second item was declarations of interest.
None.
I have none.
No.
No. Any members? No. And see you all tonight. This is a good thing. We don't have quite as many as the last meeting, so I'll see everyone. There's no escape. No escape.
No, yeah. Okay. Item 3, public participation.
Yeah, what sort of time period do you wish to allow?
Councillor Elvin. You're on mute, Councillor Elvin.
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Madam Mayor, I do apologise. First of all, may I propose we have the standard 15 minutes, but may I also propose at this point in the meeting that we have a suspension of standing orders under item 4, because I'm sure the public maybe want to possibly pass comments on the proposition that's the document that's been circulated this afternoon. So I think it would be incumbent on us to, under item 4, to let the councillors ask the questions and any members of the public to also ask questions or make suggestions. So I'd like to propose that there is a suspension of standing orders to allow that to happen after under item 4.
Second.
I second that. Yeah.
Agreed, members?
Agreed.
Any
Agreed.
dissent?
Agreed. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So is there anything under item 3 or do you want to move straight to item 4?
Participation? No.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I just quickly ask, why in Hetton do we pay more council tax than in Sunderland?
Because we have a town council.
Do you want me to explain that?
Right, yeah.
The town council, yeah.
Go on then.
No, your council tax is the same as Sunderland's, for the basic Sunderland council tax, and the same for the fire authority and the police, etc. But then there's an extra precept for the privilege of having Hetton Town Council. So that's the extra charge, but your actual basic council tax is the same. There's an extra charge for having the delight of us 21 elected town councillors at a parish level.
And do we get any kind of privileges for that? Or like, do you get any powers as a council? Because it doesn't appear that way at the moment.
We have very limited powers, if I may interject, Madam Mayor.
Yeah, very limited.
But hopefully they should be, sorry, Madam Mayor, I'm taking it
That's all right.
If the recommendations of a recent act were followed, then more and more powers or should be being transferred down to the lowest tier of democracy, which is the parish and town council. As it is Sunderland, that doesn't appear to have happened, but hopefully we'll be getting the ability to do more things as and when Sunderland City Council catch up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll save my next question till after the report.
Right, okay, that's fine. So can we move on to item 4? Nobody else? No.
Okay, Chairman, if I can just introduce this item. Item 4 is in two parts. We have A, which is to consider the planning position statement from the Pegasus Group, which was submitted on behalf of Gen 2 relating to Cragdale Gardens. And then part B, the timing of this meeting has picked up a couple of planning applications which have come in routinely. Just at the start of the meeting, Councillor Farrow mentioned the paper that was sent out this afternoon. And I do apologise for this. If I can just give a little bit of background, because it's a fairly hefty document. We were originally due to discuss this, I believe, at the December meeting, and we ran out of time basically, and there's a lot of time allocated to speaking about Hetton Nursery School. And after the meeting, I found out from Sunderland City Council that the planning meeting for Cragdale Gardens is the 19th of this month, and that they also had a requirement to have any written submission from Hetton Town Council by this Friday. Unfortunately, those dates were non-negotiable by the City Council, so we're somewhat being dictated to through circumstances to have this meeting tonight. So the paper that's come out this afternoon, it was a case of, which Councillor Rome has kindly put together at fairly short notice. It was a case of I either have that report or nothing at all. My view was that although it's a fairly lengthy document, it does largely shadow the report which, the submission that the Pegasus Group had put in, and which members had previously seen some time ago. So the themes of the report that you had this afternoon are very, very similar and follow that format. But certainly I accept that there's a lot of reading there, but hopefully members will understand the reasons for the lateness. As I say, it was either that from Councillor Rome or nothing at all. And I also have the strong view that it was important to have some sort of reference document available because of the importance and complexity of the topic. I hope that's okay with members. That said, if there are no further queries on that, can I suggest that Councillor Rome talks to that report, please?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Clerk. I'm sorry I haven't had the...
Sorry, Councillor Farrell wants to come in.
Before Councillor Rome starts, is there any chance you could screen share so we could look at this document?
Yes, I will do. I will do.
Thank you.
Councillor Farrell, you're ahead of me. I'm already pre-prepared. I'll put it on screen. I don't know that I'll be able to keep it on screen for the full duration. I'll take members' views on it. Bear with me.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Councillor Rome, but I thought it'd be useful to see the document since you've put in all that time to make it.
No problem.
Just hang on.
Thank you.
Shall I commence?
Just give me a second till I get this paper, please.
Paper up.
Right, there we go. There we go. Councillor Geddes is joining us now.
Well, I'm sorry you all haven't had the opportunity to read this document. And as you can probably remember, the objection to this application, as Town Clerk has previously referred to, after much public input and discussion, the objection was approved at the Town Council meeting held on the 21st of September. And it was submitted to Sunderland City Council just before the application was closed to further comments. We residents and some councillors were surprised when Sunderland City Council actually allowed a very lengthy further comment from Gen 2's representative, hence the fact that a lot of the residents and some of the town councillors felt that we had to submit a further document, which Sunderland City Council agreed to let us submit. I'm not prepared to go through page by page because, as the town clerk said, most of the points we've got in this document are a reflection of the letter that we sent off to the city development when we objected to it. But really, the crux of everything is in the summary. And as we all know too well, at the end of the day, Sunderland's Planning Committee can only reject an application for specific reasons. And if you look at the summary when we come to it, a bit further on, I believe, and so does the Campaign for Rural England, Protect Rural England, believes that this document the application should be refused because the Sunderland Core Strategy document was adopted last year, 2020, and the site in question is clearly marked as open countryside in figure 29 of it. Now, if there's... Sorry, I've got an echo there.
I was going to say, has somebody got it?
No, I think it's just an echo, probably bouncing off my wall, I think.
Right.
If the planning committee would not accept the fact that it seems to be since Councillor Geddes came in, I don't know how that sounds a bit strange. If they don't accept the fact that the core strategy supersedes the unitary development plan, then I still maintain that this application would be contrary to the UDP as described in, and this is for Councillor Farrow's benefit, if you look, we go back to planning policy point, I think it's 4, one lady was refused planning permission because of that UDP policy just under 2 years ago. So I think we've got a very strong case for arguing against this, and but the rest of the document really just goes into repeating what has been said in discussion and in the various meetings, and which we highlighted in a point-by-point basis in our letter of the 28th of September. So if there are any questions.
Chairman, if I can just come in there, I'm just trying to very slowly go through all 9 pages of the document, so the various members who haven't had the opportunity to read it in detail could just have a glance at some of the points that are being referred to there. So if members are happy just for me to continue to go through it, I'm trying to keep up with Councillor Roma as she was speaking, and also be conscious that my scrolling might not be in keeping with some people who are trying to read it in detail.
Madam Mayor, whilst the clerk
Alvin,
is doing
sorry.
that,
Yeah.
that's okay. So looking at this document, it seems that it's gone into great detail as per the way that their document was set out. All the headings seem to be the same, and under each heading, Councillor Rome seems to have countered the arguments that were proposed in the document, the last document submitted by Gen 2's people. You know, I think they look to me pretty conclusive, but obviously I think we'd all welcome comments from the members and also members of the public as to any points that maybe have been missed or any points that they maybe think have not been strongly enough stated. But I think, as Councillor Rome says, in the end, that is the background, and then the conclusion is, you know, the grounds for appeal, which or objection, which are in the summary. And this is always a problem with the council. You have to give them a specific reason for your objection. In many respects, the background is almost superfluous, but it's very pertinent, I think, in this case, because it follows, you know, the way that they set their last document out. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yes, Madam Mayor, we added a few pictures in just for some emphasis on the state of the area, various comments that had been made about Gen 2's performance.
Madam Mayor?
Sorry, Councillor Geddes, is it?
No.
Sorry,
No.
I cannot see you.
Councillor Hopper.
Councillor
Councillor Cobbler.
Councillor Hopper, sorry.
I suppose just before I get started, there was only 2 or 3 points that I want to touch on. before I get started, I want to reiterate my absolute dismay and disappointment with Sunderland City Council as a whole. I don't see why it is incumbent upon us to prove the neglect of Gen 2 in the area of not only the houses but the property they're supposed to look after. It should be more their responsibility to show that they can look after the properties that they've got. So I'm a little bit disappointed that Council Rome's had to do so much work, and all of us, including members of the public, to try and get this development stopped, when I personally don't believe it's in the best interest of the community. And really, if it was, I actually fired an email off to them some months back saying that you're going to build 86 houses to significantly improve the area. So why don't you take 86 of the worst houses, move the people out of that, move them into the new houses, and then modify the old houses? I'm still waiting for an email for that. I don't expect a response. But anyway, so the Sunderland Core Strategy states that there's been significant development in the area over the past 15 years. And I've been looking for it just before the meeting started, because I remember reading the paragraph. So there's been significant development, but the infrastructure needs upgrading. And in the core strategy, it's in that really they wouldn't be in favour of further development if the infrastructure hadn't been upgraded. I will look for that statement and I'll forward it on to you, Town Clerk. It's just one paragraph in the Sunderland Core Strategy, but that to me says they know we've got a problem, so why would you try and put more houses on and stress the infrastructure? Well, it's already overstretched now, the infrastructure. And the other point that I was wanting to make was the safety aspect. I think we should maybe highlight the police report and the worry that they've got and the risk level that they think will be in if these houses are built, which will go into high. Now, yes, Councillor Rome?
I'd just like to say, Councillor Hopper, absolutely very valid points, but when this document gets, into the planning committee, there are only certain reasons why they were rejected. You see where I'm coming from? We have highlighted. I do.
I'm starting to not appreciate the rules and regulations, but I'm starting to understand them. And it just seems barriers more in favour of corporations and Sunderland City Council. So I'm assuming, rightly or wrongly, that everybody that sits on this council, one, are from the area, and two, want the best for the area. Now, people who make decisions about our area aren't from our area. I spoke to the legal department and asked for some help some months ago with this issue, and they said, sorry, we can't represent you. But there are, we can pay our council tax, we can do whatever, but they won't represent us because they represent Sunderland City Council, a corporate body, and they make decisions based on what's best for the city, not what's best for our town, our locality. I mean, it was quite a tense conversation, because I said, you've got it all wrong. You're ignoring local people. Same with other issues that's going on at the minute. They're ignoring local people. And so yeah, I mean, I'm in favour of this report that you've done. I'm in favour of every point. I just wanted to point out that the Sunderland Core Strategy had already indicated that we shouldn't be having any further developments in the coalfields area, it said. So anyway, that was my input on it. Thank you.
Mr. Coulson? Councillor Coulson?
So there was a plan for the bypass to come up from Rainton Bridge, go through Cragdale Gardens, and probably the Elmer golf club or golf site. Does anyone know if that's been completely scrapped? As far as I know, according to the cricket field manager, he was put on a yearly contract, a yearly sort of lease in case that road come in. Now that's infrastructure. Has that been cancelled? Does anybody know?
Councillor Rowan wants to come back in.
Yes, yes, Councillor Colson. If you look at the report I prepared, you will see that in response to the planning statement that Gen 2's representatives sent in, they were trying to claim that because there was a mention of a Hetton bypass in documents gone by, that was a reason to say, oh, that land was not important. Well, in order, as it says in this document, in order to get permission for a bypass, you have to go to central government with a request, and you have to have very substantive reasons why they will grant the local area or whomever to put that bypass in. And it's got to be something like an airport, like a massive centre like the one they've got down at Spennymoor or something like that. And there has never, ever, ever been a request from Sunderland Council to central government for a bypass. Never. It may have been mentioned by some councillors, it may have been put into a plan if somebody thought it'd be a good idea. And we know there's a road to nowhere that's been down at Merton for 25 years, but there has never been a request from Sunderland City Council to central government for a bypass.
I'm surprised.
Surprise? Because as I said, the cricket field were on a yearly lease in case the bypass was to come through. So,
well, if Sunderland City Council ever do put a request into central government, that bypass will never be built in any of our lifetimes, I don't think.
Councillor Hopper, and you're on mute.
Yeah. So, if I'm right in thinking that that point that was in the Pegasus report, when they said, oh, they were going to put a bypass, I'm just paraphrasing here, but they're basically saying, oh, because they were going to put a bypass through and they decided against it, then that actually negates that point, does it not?
Yes.
So there's no real, oh, right, okay.
But it's pointless anyhow. The planning department would not refuse permit or approve the planning application on that point. It's normally got to be, from my experience, I don't know, perhaps Councillor Heron, he might have more experience than me, but it's usually down to you're in contradiction to the UDP or this plan or that plan. It's very rarely because the local people don't want it or this, that, and the other. That's why I based this report, the summary, on those instances. But I did feel I wanted to answer their statement because as it says in the introduction, there are so many contradictions and untrue statements in that. I felt it had to be. Mm-hmm. It had to be. Had to be gone through point by point.
Councillor Farrell and then Councillor Hopper. Yeah. Councillor Farrell first, sorry.
I did look at the core strategy and development plan, and I think the section that Councillor Hopper was referring to is on page 20, 2.24, about the need for significant investment in infrastructure. The other point I found was on page 52, 4.75, where it says, in order to support the sustainable growth of the coalfield, the council has identified 3 housing growth areas. These sites, together with further housing sites identified in the SHLAA, will ensure that the area retains a residential development focus. So I looked to see which these 3 sites are, and they are New Harrington, Penshaw, and Philadelphia. But it doesn't mention Morsley. So I just thought those 2 things were just points of information, really, which may or may not be helpful. Thank you.
No, I do. Thank you, Councillor Farrell. I think that is helpful because again, it's sort of, this was the point about the city council or Gen 2 in the preparation of all of this. All this work is being done And really, if there's something core strategy, and I know it's only supposed to be a general guide, but if the core strategy had been read and understood the way that I've understood it, and obviously the way you have, I don't even think this would have even get into the planning stage, because it didn't fall in my mind, and I'm not a specialist, but it didn't fall into the category that Sunderland City Council will want to go in with their core strategy. So, I mean, obviously I'm new to all this, and my gut reaction is to turn around and say, can we not get this report pulled, because it shouldn't have any weight to it. But I suppose with this paper, if this goes with the Pegasus report, then and both reports are read together, then I suppose that it will knock out a lot of the points that they're making. So, Councillor Roy?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, we don't know yet what the planning department is going to recommend. Normally, once they've got all their documents in, they put their response together, and they will recommend it's accepted or rejected or whatever. And it's quite unusual at this stage not to see that. So we don't know what they're going to say. They may say, okay, no, I'm sorry, it contradicts this, it contradicts that, and we recommend that it be refused. It's just very odd, very curious to me that Gen 2 have gone to such an extent to submit all this huge amount of documents at great expense. I mean, the submission planning application alone was nearly £30,000. They must have spent hundreds of thousands on something that everybody thinks really shouldn't stand a cat's chance in hell. Mm-hmm. So hopefully, the planning department will be onto it, because in the past, I mean, we have stood up against planning applications in the last 18 months, and we have been fairly successful. And I think in one instance, it was the one down North Road, was the one at Rainton, and the one at Rainton, they were East Rainton. Planning department were very much against it also, so we have to rely on their good sense and just hope that Gen 2, the fact that it is Gen 2, and that they did buy all this housing stock from Sunderland City Council nearly 20 years ago, that there's not they don't feel obliged to let them do this.
Councillor Farrow, do you want to come back, and then Lindsay?
Just a brief comment on what Councillor Rome said. The planning development that was proposed on the edge of Rainton was, obviously it wasn't Gen 2, it was a private development.
That's right.
Private houses for sale, whereas this is quite different. It's shared ownership and affordable rents, which is possibly more needed in the area. The other thing was another reason why the planning application was refused at Rainton was because of the problem of settlement breaks, that it was encroaching too much, making East Rainton too close to Hetton and losing that break, and we can't use that argument in this case.
No such thing, according to the guys we spoke to.
I think Lindsay wants to come in, Councillor Geddes. Lindsay wants to come in first. Yes, sorry. And then Councillor Elvin, and then you can come in again after that. Sorry, Lindsay.
It's all right. I just find it quite alarming that it kind of got to this stage, and not one of the city councillors mentioned it at a meeting. The first anybody knew about it was when we got a leaflet put through the door, and I want to know why the city councillors don't stand up to fight for our area. Nobody seems to be doing anything in this whole area in Hetton, the heritage. Just everything seems to be taken from our control. And if we've got a city council, we've got our little Hetton Town Council now, we should have more powers to be able to control our area and stop losing our heritage.
Yeah.
Councillor Elvin, you wanted to come in next, and then I believe Councillor Waterson wants to come in as well. Sorry, Councillor Geddes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Now, I was just going to say the points that Councillor Farrow made earlier, I thought were very good, and I wondered if they should be included, Councillor Owen, or whether they could be included in the document. She seemed to make a valid point.
I would just like to say that part of this, we're looking for approval, is for me to speak at the planning meeting. And I think I think we could use those points, Councillor Farrow, by which time, when the planning meeting is called, we will have a good idea of what the planning committee plans to recommend, whether it's accepted or rejected.
Councillor Watson, did you want to speak?
Oh, sorry, Chair, sorry. Yeah, I'd just like to thank Councillor Owen for all her hard work that she's put in with this document. And I totally agree that whatever issues you raise, whatever point you raise, it has to be on a planning basis. You know, your heartfelt feelings and what you think's right and proper for Hetton, it won't sway. You've got to hit them with the planning issues. You've got to stick to those issues. And I think perhaps what we should all be doing is, I hope all the councillors are going to write to the city council about this and put their objections. I hope we've all done it, or we're all going to do it.
Yeah,
it's too late.
Yes, it's all. Yes, it closed some time ago.
Okay, Councillor Geddes, now, sorry.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to go on one more thing about that Lindsay brought up, and the fact that we don't get to know about it. This is a bugbear of mine, and this is just one issue, Lindsay, that I have to tell you, that Hetton Town Council don't get to know what's going on. And I find it absolutely appalling that we are the only town council in the City of Sunderland area, the only town council, and we don't get to know. We're back of the queue with all of these issues that come up, and I find it offensive, rude from a Sunderland City Council, the attitude they take with this Hetton Town Council. I think it's high-handed and it's about time it stopped.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. That's all I've got to say.
Okay, Councillor Geddes, did you want to come in or no?
Just a couple of things. I think first and foremost, for those of us who met with the planners and highways for that field, which is opposite the Mines Rescue, I recall that we used the borders for that, and they said no such thing exists anymore. So I would ask our city colleagues, do the breaks exist or do they not? Because it seems to be whatever situation suits them.
They do when they choose to, Councillor. They do when they choose to.
Thank you. But again, I would also say that it's a bit disheartening because we have a number of city councillors who sit on Hetton Town Council, and how many times have we asked those city councillors to communicate with us, and every time we get back off them, we are not here as city councillors, we're here as town councillors. I mean, it beggars belief that we're still having these barriers put up because of politics. You know, put the town first, for Christ's sake, not the Labour Party or any other party. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. Myself and Susan Watson raised this at now. We raised it at Seadown, and every single Labour councillor, city councillor was aghast that this is happening at Hetton Town Council, that our city councillors will not communicate. And it's in the minutes. That's all I've got to say.
Mr. Turner, I believe you want to speak.
It's just to reply to Lindsay when she said that regarding when we got to know about it, I got to know about it off a resident. We didn't get to know from Sunderland City Council. It was a resident who told me. And also, I don't know whether you're aware, but myself and Councillor Blackburn will be speaking at the planning meeting at Sunderland against this development.
Lindsay?
Can I just quickly ask? Sorry. So are we all able to speak? Everybody that put an objection in, are we all able to speak, Mrs. Turner?
No, you've got to write in to say that you want to speak.
So why haven't they contacted us and asked me that? Because when I was told I put an objection in, I was told that I would be contacted, and nothing. The first I know about the planning meeting for the 19th was from Hetton Town Council. Nobody from planning has contacted us.
Oh, well, it was stated that if you want to speak, you've got to write. You've got to write.
So
in
who
to
do
say
I write
that you
to?
want to speak. Just to the planning department, but it's too late now. It's got to be done by the closing.
You're joking me. This is an absolute disgrace. Does anybody else got any opinions on this before?
Rome, I believe, wanted to come
Yes,
in.
I think you'll find once, in my experience, correct me if I'm wrong, but in my experience, once they've got all the planning department's got their documents in and they put their bundle together, and it goes, I think the letters go out to the people who've objected at that point to ask them to, if they want to speak or not. That's my understanding of it, but perhaps, and I did send copies Town Clerk in on an email last week where I asked him to confirm that with the planning department, with city planning.
No, I haven't received anything.
No, you won't receive because it's not finalised on their books yet. As far as, you know, what's going to go into the, they've got to publish the documents with notice of the meeting. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's been left a bit late though,
Councillor
hasn't it?
Geddes? Councillor
Yeah,
Geddes?
can I just come in, because I find some of the comments just totally unbelievable. Councillor Thornton is now chair of the planning department, correct? Correct? Yes.
Yeah.
For that, it was Alex Scullion, correct? Are we seriously suggesting, Councillor Turner, that nobody knew, even those two people are in the Labour Party at Cocktail and wherever? Seriously, that nobody in the Labour Party knew. I'm sorry, but I find that incredible. I don't think.
No, it's quite true. We didn't know about this development.
Sorry, but I just don't believe it.
Well,
I don't believe it.
Well, if you don't want to take my word for it.
Well, unfortunately, you know, the history of Hetton Town Council and the City Council is bear my words out. And if that offends anybody, then I'm sorry, but I'm not going to apologise because it's true.
Councillor Heron? Councillor Heron, do you want to speak?
Yes, thank you, Madam First of all, I would like to make it quite clear I'm still not happy about receiving papers on the date of a meeting. And there's only been 3 hours. I know, Councillor Rome, you've done a grand job putting all these papers together, but this is happening on a regular basis. If we're going to have it, we need to put a team together to put these planning objections, because there must be legal planning objections in place. I'll see how you can come back, Councillor. The Hetton bypass has been in the last unitary development plan. It was put in 1989, I believe, when there was a big traffic survey done to put a road through from the A19 through to Washington Highway. The first part of that was to put the central route in from Washington into Hetton Bridge. That has been there. It has had government approval to go in. The Tory government came in, stopped it, and sent the money up to sunny Northumberland. Yes, Councillor Rome, I'm quite sure we want to come back again. However, I agree with very nearly all of what you've got in your report, but there will be planning objections coming in because the Pegasus is part of the planning application. Those documents have come in as part of the planning application on that, so people can have the objection. Lindsay, if you ring the planning department up, send a letter in or an email in would ring the department up and tell them that you would like to speak. I have asked Councillor Rome if she would go down and represent the people down there as chairman of the planning committee, but she refused.
What? It's proposed in this document.
Council meeting, Councillor Rome. And as far as Melanie Thornton's concerned, she is chairman of the planning committee. Therefore, she cannot undertake any comments from this town council because of the legal
What's the point
on her as being chair of that committee.
What's the point of sitting on Hetton Town Council?
Councillor Rome, then Councillor Elvin.
Yes, I'm confused by what Councillor Heron is saying. It's on the agenda here that that council considers approving me to go to the planning committee and speak on behalf of the council. What's he talking about? I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about. I haven't refused to go. I haven't been asked to speak. I've offered to, and it's in this, but I don't know what you're talking about.
The last time this was discussed, I requested that the chair should go down and put the people's views to it. You have done a lot of work, Councillor, on this, and I would strongly recommend that if you went down, they would need to listen to what you've got to say.
Go down where? At what point? You can't just go down to the planning department.
And I believe that you would do a good job down there at the committee.
Elvin, where you wanting to speak there? Yeah.
Yeah, Madam Chairman. I'd just like to pick on a couple of points.
He wants to come in as well.
I think about the late submission of documentation. I find incredulous that Councillor Heron would make such a comment when for 43 years, well, let's say for the years I've been on the council, when the previous town clerk was there, we always got the documents on the day. Bundles of them were suddenly put in, agenda items right at the last minute. You can shake your head, Councillor Heron, but it's all in the minutes. They were all at the last, and I think this comment about wanting this committee to do that and this, that, and the other is pure obfuscation in the hope that because the time scale just isn't there to do it unless somebody actually gets on and does it. If Councillor Heron is aware there'd be obfuscation, nothing would get done, and this report would never have been made. So that's that point. I think is just incredulous of Councillor Heron, and also to the point he makes. What Councillor Heron I think was the point he was making was that when the council was controlled by Labour, because they're all such buddies with the city council, and let's be honest, they were. I mean, totally in bed with them. They could ring up anybody and then go and have a meeting with them. It's a privilege which has not been forthcoming to us, the council. You can't just ring up and say, hi, Mr. So-and-so, Chairman of Planning, can I pop down and have a chat to you about X, Y, and Z? The answer is put it in writing. You had privileges because of your position and the fact that you're all one big party swimming in the same pond, and you shouldn't try and blame Councillor Rome and say that she should do the same thing, because these days it's just not possible, and it's a complete and utter red herring.
Councillor Defty wanted to speak, and then Lindsay again.
Could I come back, Madam Chair?
Yeah, first, yeah, okay. Councillor Defty, can you hang on 2 seconds?
But first of all, the planning committee is a total legal responsibility of all councillors on Sunderland City Council. And it's run that way. Not so that people can't contact them. They can contact them, and the councillors can represent them and give the views of the residents, even if that's against council policy. And I've done it many, many times myself down there. Yes, Councillor Elvin, you didn't have a crack at the length of time. Papers that came previously, when the other clerk was in, they were always not for recommendations, not for decision making. And I think Councillor Pearson knows that as well. Any papers that came were not for recommendation.
Madam Mayor, if I could come back.
You've had your say, Councillor Elvin. I take my phone off, my microphone off when I'm not speaking. Madam Mayor, again, I reiterate that at the last time this was debated at the Town Council, I did ask if the chairman would go down and represent the residents. Now,
I didn't hear that. I'm sorry if you did, I didn't hear that.
I'm sorry, that's what happened. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Deputy first and then Councillor Elvin. Yeah. You're on mute, Councillor Deputy.
There we go.
Yeah.
2 points. The first point was our city councillors say they don't come as city councillors, they come as Hetton Town councillors. But even as Hetton Town councillors, they never open their mouths. They're silent about every question that's asked. Unless somebody objects to like something being personal, they'll say, that's personal, you can't say that. But we'll get that out the way. And then Councillor Hurren's rambling on once again. Right? Councillor Hurren, the last meeting, I think what Councillor Rome's trying to say.
Hold on a minute, because somebody's got the microphone on. We're hearing right. Okay, sorry, Councillor Deputy.
This, obviously, the papers have gone in. We want to pass this tonight. Papers go in for the meeting on Friday. And then we can go and talk to them. There's nobody can go down and just talk to them prior. Like you say, you've often gone and done it. You may have, but we're not allowed to. We have to go through the proper channels, as you say. So this meeting is solely to get what the proposal is, put it to, so that then if they will be requested to talk as a representative, will be requested to put the case, that representative will be Councillor Warham. But, and then again, I think, was it Melanie? Can she go and talk? Yes, you can go and talk, Melanie. But again, you'll have a timer on you. And the timer will stop. And anybody else who's with it, the timer will not be stopped because they want to pass it. I've sat in the gantry. I've seen it. We've all seen it. Right? If they want to railroad something, they'll railroad it. Okay? So, but let's get back to the point. This is to approve what Councillor Rome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all it's for. Let's get it approved. Let's get let's get it down. Then
Right.
when we have the meeting, or on Zoom meeting, or whatever it is, then everybody. If we've got 200,
I have no objections.
If we've got 200
all
people,
I'm doing is trying to.
do you mind Councillor Aaron? Do you mind turning the mic off?
Hang on, Councillor Harron. I mean, you can't see.
While other people are talking, Councillor Aaron, have some manners for once. Thank you. Right. So I think, and then if you've got 200 people to go on Zoom, if there's 300 people, Hetton people, tell your friends the council meeting's on. Let's have a look. Let's see what they say. If it's 500 people want to join the Zoom meeting, let's have it. But let's get this passed. Let's get it done. We're all happy with what's being said. I think we'll agree. I did miss the beginning of the meeting.
Yeah.
I do apologise. I couldn't get in. But let's just get it through. Let's get on with it and get this planning stopped. Thank you.
Here. Well said. That's what we need to do.
Right, sorry. It was Councillor Elvin, wasn't it? And then Lindsay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councillor Deputy beat me to the point. I think we do need to get on with debating this document, the detail of it, and seeing if there are any suggested amendments that might be added to it, and get it through as soon as possible. But I really do object to Councillor Aaron, as per usual. He criticised me because I spoke unwittingly, knowing that I had got my mic on, and then I turned it off promptly, and called me everything under the sun, and then promptly goes and does exactly the same to Councillor Deputy with it's just incredulous. And as I say, the things that Councillor Aaron sometimes say, you know, it's beyond. See, look, he's doing it again. So, you know, as again, for one side there's one rule, and for the rest of us there's another rule. But let's please get on with this and see if there are any additions, amendments, and then get this proposed and hopefully voted through ASAP. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yeah, I think it was the town clerk and then Lindsay. Sorry, Lindsay, I keep putting you off, but the town clerk.
Right, there's just 2 or 3 things I wanted to flag up, if I may. First of all, we've heard from Councillor Defty there, just to make members aware that both Councillor Defty and Councillor Willis did join us for most of item 4A there. So they have been with us for some time. I've heard the comments about moving progress with the report that's been submitted. There was a suggestion earlier in the meeting, I think it was from Councillor Elvin, that some of the comments by Councillor Farrell were incorporated in any submission we make to the City Council. If that's the case, I just need to have a chat with potentially Councillor Rome to include those and have a clear understanding of what they might be. It's imperative that any written submission that we have for Sunderland gets away on Thursday, so we'll have to move quite quickly on that aspect. So if somebody could just clarify me if that is the case, just so I need to allocate some time for that on Thursday. And the other thing, just to flag up, I've seen some of the chat discussions taking place. There's been some confusion tonight, and I can understand how it's happened because we've merged public participation and suspended standing orders. There has been somebody wanting to comment on Hetton Nursery School as well. I don't know, Councillor Pearson, if you want to just hear that perspective at all.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
So the two items appear to have merged tonight, and I understand the reason why.
I mean, this meeting was called for this planning, etc., etc. But I mean, if you want whoever it was, I don't even know who it was that asked to comment on it. But I mean, you know, we're more or less iPhones. So I don't know whether he wants to speak, but I mean, we kind of sort of.
Sorry, I think it was James. I'm not sure if it was James.
Sorry, I didn't notice.
I know.
Sorry.
I've just put in the chat about the nursery. It wasn't to do the usual where we usually go on for ages. It was just because the consultation went live on the 4th of January. And I just kind of wanted to raise my concerns of the timing of it. Obviously, it was inevitable it was going to happen, that the public consultation was going to begin. But it's just the fact that it has begun on the 4th and we've gone into another lockdown. And if there was any potential chance of Hetton support and saying that could it not be deferred, certainly under the current lockdown, because at the minute it runs from the 4th of January to the 14th of February. Most people are going to be in lockdown. We can't really spread the word the way we would usually. So it was just basically to raise that was all.
Yeah, Councillor Farrell?
Can we complete the matter in hand first before we move on to discussion of the nursery? And I'd like to propose, along the lines of what the town clerk has said, that Councillor Rowan's report should go forward, possibly with some amendments and additions. Maybe this can be done tomorrow, circulated to the council. Any responses must be back tomorrow evening or possibly first thing Thursday morning, if that's not too late, and then sent in. I don't think we need to prolong this discussion an awful lot longer, and I'd like to put that on the table as a proposal, please.
I'll second that.
If the town clerk could just confirm that those timescales are possible, please.
Clerk isn't in tomorrow. I
always have a flexible approach, Councillor Farrell. It'll be sorted by Thursday. I'll leave it with me. We'll get it sorted. It's an important issue.
Yep. Second that.
I believe Councillor Coulson, then Councillor Elvin again.
You're on mute, Rach.
You're on mute.
Yeah.
You're thinking. You've gone on mute again, Councillor Coulson. Yeah, you're off.
Right, going back to Lindsay's point about going and standing up at council meetings and making recommendations. The Greenbank estate at East Rainton, we hired a consultancy firm. There was fantastic problems with it. underground spring feeding, historic water troughs, gas main going through. But it didn't make any difference. And at the same meeting was Philadelphia. Somebody mentions Philadelphia. There was fantastic reasons not to have it. It's where the bus depot is. In fact, one Labour councillor stood up and was against it, banging on the table like Burt Lancaster in Elmagantry, banging on the table against it. And when it come to the vote, he put his hand up in favour to vote for it. So I said to the late Colin Wakefield, can I get my head around that? Well, he said he was instructed to. So the crux of the matter is, can the councillors, the city councillors on the planning committee go against the recommendations or not? And that's the top and bottom of it. If they can't, it's going to go through. So I don't know whether Councillor Turner can put any light on that. Can the city councillors go against the recommendations, or are they whipped and got to follow through? Thank you.
No, they can go against it. If they wish.
Well, I'm surprised you said that.
Councillor Farrow?
I think Lindsay was next, wasn't she?
Yeah, sorry, I keep missing Lindsay out.
Well, I did put a proposal on the table and I wonder if we could move on now.
Madam Mayor, if I could interject, I totally, with your permission, I totally agree with Councillor Farrow, but I think it would be nice to ask Lindsay if she has any suggested amendments or anything she would like to add as a member of the public who has a acute interest in this. If that's all right, Madam Mayor, I think before we vote on it, Councillor Farrow, if we could just ask, give Lindsay opportunity to come in with anything. She's been trying for a while. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Sorry about that.
Hiya, thank you. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you very much for the report, Kay. And obviously, timescales were tight. It's been Christmas and it's been New Year, so the dig about the report only just going out, I think, is very unfair, considering the length of the report. I don't know whether I'm allowed to ask this question, but Mrs. Turner, will you be going against the recommendation?
Well, I'm not on the planning committee, but as I said, we will be speaking. I will be speaking against it, yes.
I think, like I say, I mean, I hope yourself and Mr. Blackburn will be proactive in this, because up till now there's been no proactive. There's been very little. You know, it's very, very frustrating as a local resident that lives here and lives with this on a daily basis, and bought this property where I bought this property for a certain reason, is getting no backing like from the city councillors. So I just find it very frustrating. The report itself is absolutely is brilliant. I just the report from Gen 2 from Pegasus is absolute total lies. Everything they say is absolute lies, and I've got stacks and stacks of evidence against it, and they don't maintain the area, so why should they be allowed to just destroy our area? And all I would like them to do is look after the area. As long as it was the residents around here, you'll be able to see from the photographs, the park around here is an absolute disgrace. I mean, whether you've got children, grandchildren, you wouldn't want your child to go there. So I just find it very frustrating that nothing gets done about it, that's all. But the report itself, I think, is absolutely fantastic. I just hope that somebody actually has the balls to listen to it and stands up to it, that's all. That's all I would like to say, really.
Madam Mayor, in that case, I'd like to second Councillor Farrow's proposal.
Yeah. Can we have a vote on this, please? Oops.
Chairman, can I just go around everybody as I see them on screen? So this is a proposal to accept the submission prepared by Councillor Rome, used as a basis to submit to the City Council, and to incorporate any further comments from Councillor Farrow and other members. Have I got it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. Can we just go around everybody, just as they are on my screen? Councillor Herron?
Great.
Thanks. Councillor Turner?
Agree.
Councillor Coulson?
Great.
Councillor Farrow?
Agreed.
Thank you. Councillor Rome?
Agreed.
Councillor Pearson?
Agreed.
Councillor Elvin?
Agreed.
Thanks. Councillor Hopper?
Ooh, let me think about it. Agreed.
Councillor Waterston?
She's asleep.
I think it's agreed, but she's on
Yeah.
mute.
Councillor Garris?
Agreed.
Councillor Willis?
Agreed.
Councillor Defty?
Agreed.
I haven't missed anyone out, have I? I don't think so. Right, that's unanimous. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, can I just say one thing to Councillor Geddes? With the COVID restrictions, is there any way we can slow this down? I know business has got to go on to a certain extent, but my biggest fear here is, and of course with the library it's the same thing, we're in the middle of a pandemic, life's not normal, and I'm, pushing this through when, normally you would have a room full of people down at the Hetton Centre with this. So I just don't know, Mr. Town Clerk, can we, because it's not an excuse, it's a fact of life, can we ask them to slow this process down due to the current circumstances? Because at the moment, I don't believe everybody that should know what's going on does know what's going on. And this is a railroad tactic by, Gen 2, sorry to say that, but it is. So I don't know anybody's views on that, but is there any possible way we can use the influence that Hetton Town Council's got to try and slow this process down to involve more people as well? Mr. Town
Chairman,
Clerk, anybody else?
if it's members' wishes, I can ask the question of the City Council. My gut reaction is that it's business as usual despite lockdown. We had a similar lockdown from March to July time last year, and many aspects of council business just continued as normal, albeit remotely.
Well, I think we've got to try and put as many barriers in the way to slow this down, and I think just asking the question, we don't know the answer, but I just think it's a relevant point. I really do. Not everybody's getting filled in with this, what's going on.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I would agree with Councillor Geddes that if everybody else does it, at least the town clerk could write and ask. You don't ask, you don't get, except all the points made about the council's supposedly business as usual. But really, it's business as usual only when it suits them. When it doesn't suit them, it doesn't happen. I've got many examples of that, but I won't bore you with it at the moment. So yes, I would agree with Councillor Geddes if the rest of the committee do.
Please. You're on mute, Mr. Town Clerk.
You're right. Well spotted. Hey, Jerry. So, sorry, is that unanimous among members that you'd like me to ask that question of the City Council? Any dissent? I think that's the easiest way. No dissent. Okay. So I've just dropped my pen. Right, back in business. Okay, I shall send an inquiry off to the City Council tomorrow.
Can I just, sorry, Mr. Town Clerk, can I just add to that? Sorry, can I just add to that? That would also include the library situation because that person came on. So I know the two different things, but it's the same reaction. I think we need to slow things down on the two issues if possible.
Right, Chairman, Councillor Geddes has just widened that discussion up a little bit there. Do members want me to raise that query with?
Yep, agreed. Agreed.
Thank you, everybody.
Any dissent?
No.
No. Okey-dokey.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Just in terms of the Cragdale Gardens planning application, I would hope you get a fairly rapid response from the City Council. If the answer is no, I'm making the assumption that you just want me to proceed as we've just previously discussed there in terms of putting the submission in and incorporating any comments.
Sorry, Mr. Clark, can I just clarify something Emma has just said? Is that the nursery?
The nursery, yes.
Yes, it is the nursery, Emma.
Yeah, I wrote her back to her.
Yeah. Sorry, my query was that certainly in terms of the planning application, because that is the one that was currently time critical with a Friday deadline for us. If the answer is no, we're happy to just proceed along the lines we've discussed earlier in the meeting.
Yes, absolutely, Madam Mayor.
Right.
So yes,
Yep.
we do. Must do that.
Yeah.
Must be an on time.
Okay. Know what I have to do.
Okay. Right.
Jim, have we exhausted item 4A?
I think we've exhausted it. I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Item 4B. There were 2 planning applications. I'll just bring them on screen. Yeah, there were 2. The first one's in respect of 63 Station Road. Any views?
No objections, Councillor Rowe?
No objections, Councillor Geddes.
No objections, Councillor Watson.
No objections, Councillor Elvin.
Right, can I just point out, I can't see everybody. Is there any member present who does have an objection or a comment?
I can't see anybody that's doing that, put the hands up or anything, so no, I would say no.
Okay, thank you. The next one. This was the lines, windows and doors at Hetton Lines Industrial Estate. If I can just comment, Councillor Dodds did give me some written comments, if I can just read these out. The planning application for the industrial park has had no environmental impact assessment carried out, and as it is right next door to the boundary of the country park, and we are proposing to put boilers, kilns on the boundary side. I'm concerned that any noise and any pollution will impact on the wildlife in the country park. So that was some comments from Councillor Dodds there.
I think that sounds very valid comments from Councillor Dodds, and perhaps we could include that in our response, Mr. Town Clerk.
Yeah. Were there any other views at all to send to the City Council on that? And would that form the basis of objection?
Councillor Hopper wants to come in.
I didn't really have an objection to the planning application, but I didn't think it had enough information with it. For example, how big were the kilns? Is there any I think particulates to be released into the atmosphere? I don't know, so it's pretty much what Councillor Dodds said, but it was really, does it impact on anybody? I'm not familiar with the site, so I don't know. Yeah.
What's the Town Clerk? Can you tell us when is the date for responses for this one?
I'll tell you in a minute. 13th of January.
When?
13th of January. Which is, let me have a look here.
5th, 12th, next
Wednesday, week tomorrow.
Wednesday.
Week tomorrow.
Councillor Geddes, did you want to come in?
Yes, please. I mean, I actually supported this because it's a local guy and it's a local business. But I will say, on the environmental part of it, I would expect that all of those rules and regulations that are required would be followed. But people have got to understand that it's a massive paint spraying thing close to the country park anyway. So, I think if the correct procedures are followed, then I think it should be absolutely fine. And I wouldn't like to restrict the local lad in a local business as long as everything's done correctly.
Yeah, Councillor Coulson?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, second what's been said, it's There is a factory making pallets and in Hetton Lions, and they've worked right through the year. They've never put anybody on furlough. There's a lot of local lads work there, and there'll be more to come. So I think it's a good thing. Thank you.
Yes, Madam Mayor. I too had no objections, but I would obviously like to reiterate the points that have been made, that it is subject to these particular environmental stringent regulations, because we've just managed to get rid of one site which has been polluting the area for years, and as of there is a kiln there, and whether that will have any influence. As I think it's a very valid point, and maybe we should. I agree with what Councillor said. We should check that out, or make it part of our submission that is subject to all these environmental checks.
Councillor Watterson, did you want to come in there?
Yes, I just wanted to clarify. Is it not the situation where this is further away from the country park? This situation, the site. Isn't it further away from the boundary of the country park?
Is it not the one that's on the corner?
It's near the football field, is it?
Yeah.
You know when you go down by the football field,
by the football field,
trees, something there's just been levelled out on the right, next to the fishing pond.
Right.
Is that not there?
Oh, that's where. All right. I thought it was further inside.
I thought it was the other side.
I might be wrong.
I think
that's just all being levelled out.
I think it's a site that was burned
Right.
down.
So there was.
Could I ask, Madam Mayor, ask the clerk if we could get an extension list so we can look into it further? Because I'm ashamed to admit I haven't looked at this. I've been so busy doing that report and everything else, I haven't had a chance to look at it.
I honestly thought Unit 6 was where the old rubbish site was, and
Unit 6 is on the left as you look, and Unit 19C is on the other end.
It's opposite Sunders. Anybody know where Sunders and Moors? It's opposite
Yes,
Sunders
so that's
Moors.
that end, yeah.
On the
Stafford Yard, end of Stafford Yard.
Yeah.
So that's not even anywhere near.
No, it's the little unit.
Overlooks the Peasons.
Overlooks the football field and the business on the other side.
That's the point I was trying to make. I can't see what the issue is when it's further away from the boundary of the country park.
But even so, there are homes. There are homes on Pearson's estate, aren't there?
You've got the travellers, the show people there. And houses behind there. It overlooks the showman's home.
Is the town clerk's going to look into? Oh, he's going to speak, but he's going to look into it. Yeah.
Yeah, Chairman, if I can just make a suggestion here. I've reported back Councillor Dodds' comments, and that seems to have some traction behind it. It strikes me that members do need a little bit more time to have a look at this in detail. I will ask the City Council, subject to Town Council's agreement, if we can have an extension. And what I would propose to do, if that is the case, I'll bring it back for further discussion at the full council on the 18th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You could ask for a site visit, Madam Mayor.
Now don't do them during lockdown, Councillor Heron.
Right, I withdraw that.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
I think, Councillor Pearson, I think we're done.
I think we've finished.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Yes, thank you very much.
Better than 2020.
Okay, if we're done, colleagues, I'm going to end the meeting now, if that's all right.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your attendance. Thanks a lot.
Thanks very much.
Good night.
Good night.